Hello. Hey. Good morning. Um, it's boy, the 29th of September. Um, and I'm just here this morning to share a little bit and then do a reading. We've been doing this reading since the 1st of May. And boy, it is, uh, it's been good for me. It's been great to do this, in front of a camera like this for you. Has in some ways pushed me deeper. Hi, Cami. Hi. Has pushed me deeper. And I listen to a lot of different teachers. I listen to Muji and Eckhart and Ram Dass and Dr. David Hawkins and of course I'm really involved in the 12-step world, and all of the they're all saying basically the same thing, and the thing is that we're caught, trapped, if you will, in identification with the persona, with our story, and understandable. Somehow we were conditioned to believe that we were this, and this that we believe we are in the persona is always changing based on the perception of what's happening around us. And the changes that come are often out of fear, for our safety, or fear for you know how we'll be seen. But often it's really it's truly safety based. It's fear, and because we've been conditioned in fear, and many of us, and I mean this is not an absolute. But many of us have been conditioned in fear. And so in the first step of the 12 steps in AA and NA and CA, it says that we are powerless over whatever our addiction happened to be, and that our lives have become unmanageable. And many of us take a long time to get to what does it have become unmanageable meant. And later, the clue that Bill puts in when he says, just before the third step, he says that selfishness and self-centeredness had been the root of our problem, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. We stepped on the toes of our fellows. So he says it, that's the basis of our problem. A number of places he tells us that, our thinking is so shaped that we're living with fear. And so all of our reactions, all of our wanting to control the moment, all of our wanting to be the director, all of our judgments, all of our complaints come out of that foundation of fear that we live in. And we built a secure story about why we have to be that fearful person. And so in the 12-step world, and with all the other teachers that I just mentioned, it becomes obvious that we have to come out of that. We have to come out of that to from a self-reliant to God-reliant, like Bill says. And to, whatever we call it, he calls it God, but he calls it also 16 different concepts in the book, in 12 step, in the big book. And there are many words for this thing that Eckhart Tolle calls the power of now. You know, it's this thing that cannot really be spoken of, because when we're connected, we're not there to speak of it. We're in it. We're in the flow. We're in life. It's not to be spoken of because we are it. Bill says in We Agnostics, either we are everything or we are nothing, or God is everything or he is nothing. Freudian slip, either we are everything or we are nothing. You know, and if God is everything, then he is us. It's not separate. There is no something that we're praying to. We are it. And our prayers are mixed with it in each moment. When I have a list and I pray for people, these people are in a way me. We are one. So we move into that. That's the thing. And so the struggle, if there's a struggle, is with the persona wanting to hang on to its idea of who it is. But thank God for addiction, because addiction is killing us, right? And so we become desperate. We are not just curious. We're desperate. We recognize that the insanity of our disease. That the self, the persona self, is killing us, and because for us. We drank and used medicinally because it was very difficult for us to be here. We saw we saw that it didn't fit. We knew that we were not that fearful person that we believed we were. We knew that we were not the story at one level. We're convinced we lived in the story of I am this, I am that. But yes, we knew. And so when I drank or used, it relieved me. There was a freedom that came, but the beautiful thing about the drugs and alcohol is that it was killing me. And it kills us a lot, many of us, millions die in addiction, whether it's suicide. So rising out of that mental illness, because that's what it is. There isn't something outside of us doing it to us. It's us. It's our condition. And rising out of that condition, the only way out is to this moment, to this awareness, to this consciousness, and we can go to the doctor and he can give us a prescription to numb our anxiety, right? But it's just kicking the can down the road, So begin with prayer, really, say, hey, please, begin with prayer, and it begins to change the energy around us with humility. Humility lifts us up, Begin with prayer, meditation brings us into the moment. Again, humility. Service to others, and the awareness that we are not who we think we are. We are not, when anger comes up, it's out of the ego. It's us in fear, thinking things should be different. So when we're in acceptance, when we're in awareness of anger, when we're in awareness of fear, we climb out of the hole on the backs of those things. So those things are not to be pushed away. You just look at them and be aware of them and realize that they are stepping stones out of the life that we've been living in, to freedom, to true freedom. It's yours. It's actually your birthright. It's our birthright. It is who we are. It's not something we have to earn, or that we have to understand. Understanding isn't the way. So that's it. When we become aware that we're not who we think we are, it's the beginning. And when we start to watch our thoughts, and we see that we're not our thoughts, it's like, okay, I'm not my thoughts. Who am I? And we begin to ask the question, who am I? Who am I? Tell me who I am. And we're not our our who we think we are, our identities. We're not like this a dad or yeah. Those are things we've done, and on this journey through, as a husband or a wife or a employee or the boss or maybe we've been bankrupt or maybe we've been a thief, or maybe we've been dishonest or maybe we've been selfish, and so we're not those things. Those are things that we've done. So we don't say I am. We do though. We say I am David. I am my age. I am my size. I am a Canadian. We say those things as if that's who we are. We're not. That's who we're being here now. So it's it, the freedom to recognize and let go of all of those things. They won't go away. Don't worry about losing them. Just have the freedom to let go and of all of our identities. And as we let go, we're lifted up into love, into unconditional love, into, our divine birthright, who we really are. I love the example if you've been in a birthing room and a baby comes onto the planet, a little tiny minute old, even in the first few days, often we're in the presence of love, and we know that. We see that, and we're like, oh my God, don't we? We have tears because it's there. It's like, and we think we've been part of a miracle. That essence in that baby still in us. It is us. We've just been covered up by our story. So surrender the story. Surrender the moment. Turn our will and our lives over to the care of this moment, to God. And we become, we become love. We are love. We don't become it, we are it. We're exposing it. We awaken to it. That's it. Okay. Thank you, you guys. So I'm going to read from our little book. I love this little book. It's a 24-hour day book, and written in 1954. And hi, Kaylee. Kala? Nice to see you. Okay. September 29th. Yes, this was written in 1954 in the early days of the 12-step world. And so he's helping people to stay in the game, He's helping people to stay in the game of growing in consciousness. Consciousness is who we are. We grow in consciousness, so we become aware in each moment. Okay, it says, September 29th, having got this far, shall we pause and ask ourselves some searching questions? We need to check on ourselves periodically. We need to check up on ourselves periodically. Just how good AA am I? So when he says how good an AA am I, but he's really saying how am I doing? In the how's my work? Just to stop and look at. If we're painting a room, we'll stop and look at it. Okay, so and see how we're doing. And the same with this. We're in the steps. We're also in the group. We're in the how are we doing with it? Am I attending meetings regularly? Am I doing my share to carry the load? When there is something to be done, do I volunteer? Do I speak at meetings when asked? No matter how nervous I am. I really encourage people with that, no matter what's going on, to speak and to find their voice. Do I accept each opportunity to do 12-step work as a challenge, as a gift, really? Do I give freely of my time and money? Am I trying to spread AA wherever I go? Is my daily life a demonstration of AA principles? Am I a good AA? Those are good questions. And for those of us that are, in recovery, we call it recovery because we're recovering from what's called a hopeless state of mind and body, because we were living in selfishness and self-centeredness. We're living in fear. We're living in anger. So we were in a tough, hopeless state. What's his name? Carl Gustav Jung. It was him in the early days that said that for most of us, the only solution was a psychic change, a spiritual experience. The only solution. That with his brand of psychology, he couldn't help most of us because we were beyond human aid. The fundamental shift that needed to happen was beyond. I call it sometimes the work that we do with psychology is I call it that we're rearranging the seats on the Titanic, and especially for the alcoholic and the addict, we're frustrating a lot for most psychologists or psychiatrists. They just give us drugs, because there's not much they can do for us. We need to have this shift from self-management to God management. Meditation for the day says, how do I get the strength to be effective to accept responsibility? By asking the higher power, God as we understand him, for the strength I need each day. It has been it's been proved in countless lives that for every day I live, the necessary power shall be given me. So we have that faith. We know that that's happening, and eventually it just becomes our experience. We tap into it. We become one with it. I must face each challenge that comes to me during the day, sure that God will give me the strength to face it. For every task that is given me, there is also given me all the power necessary for the performance of that task. I do not need to hold back. Let's go for it. Yes, and the power, like Eckhart Tolle said, is in the moment. Where do we meet God? In the moment. Be here now. Practice being present, being conscious, watching our thoughts. Yes. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may accept every task as a challenge. I know I cannot wholly fail if God is with me. Well, that's right. There is no failing. Ever, really. There is no failing ever. There's no failing. Beautiful. So that's the reading today, and thank you. And just be here now, and it helps to be with people that are like-minded. And I'm available if you ever want to call and chat, and or come to our meditation group on Monday nights. Also, we're going to read this. This is going to stimulate a lot of consciousness or conscious awareness. This is a story, really, and I'm going to read the details on it first, and so that we kind of get a grip of what we're doing. But this is a book, a translation of the Bhagavad Gita. Thanks, Cami. And we're going to do this starting the 6th, I guess. Maybe that's next week. Yes. Hi, Loretta. Hi, honey. Just finished the reading, and for those of you that came in late, I'd love it if you go back and listen. The other thing, I have a YouTube channel. And so we've been transcribing these onto YouTube every day after we do the live one here. And it helps if you go to the YouTube and subscribe, and if you watch a few videos. Yes, you're right, Cami. This is a poem. It was like the longest poem in the world. It's or part of the longest poem in the world. It's inserted into the middle of an even longer poem. So we'll read that description of that when we get to this. Cami says that she'd read that the Bhagavad Gita was a poem. Yes, it is a beautiful poem. So anyway, go to YouTube, and even if you watch 10 minutes, or if you put a couple of my videos on and let them roll, it helps the algorithms. YouTube sees that people are watching. They show it to more people, and so I'm just trying to build that little channel. On the practical side, being growing in YouTube could maybe one day help with the practical of paying the bills, you know. And it's funny, I've lost my fear around money. It's just gone. And yet it comes to share that there is some, you know, that we still have to pay the bills. And I don't have to. It all seems to get taken care of. It, you know, it really does. Um, Lisa, the channel is still, YouTube is under Bali and Beyond, and Project Awakening, and Bali and Beyond and Project Awakening. And I'll tag the channel on this in a few minutes. So it's, you know, and yeah, thanks a lot. So yeah, watch. There's like 900 videos there. I've been putting video on that YouTube channel for a long time, and I've gone back and watched a few of the old ones, and can see how the awakening has happened for me, because it's documented. You know that I've been talking about this for a long time, but it was from a different place than I'm talking about it now. So it seemed like many years I was looking and but holding back, and finally I surrendered. So it's beautiful. Thank you. Love you. We'll talk again tomorrow. I'll be on in the morning, and we'll do another reading, another chat. Okay. Thanks very much.